This week, Grandma went to see Aquaman, based on the DC comic book superhero. Now, Grandma, she sort of likes those Marvel superheroes. Well, I don't know what she thinks of this Aquaman superhero, because, we haven't really had Aquaman in a big movie like this before, all by himself. But we'll see what Grandma thinks.
Yes, we will.
I'm not a king.
Atlantis has always had a king. Now I need something more.
But what could be greater than a king?
A hero.
Well, hello everyone. Once again, Grandma has gone to a movie.
Hi.
This time it was Aquaman. But before we talk about Aquaman, we want to remind you of the 3 things we remind you of every week. Number 1, please subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any of our videos. Please give us a like. One of these, right, Grandma? No. One of these.
I was on number 2.
One of these, Grandma. If you liked our video, and please comment on our video if you have something to tell us. Like, maybe we're going to the wrong movies. Tell us what movies you'd like us to go to. We've gotten some really nice comments recently, and we really, really appreciate it. So please keep commenting. So, as I said, we did go to Aquaman. It's been out for a little bit, but we finally got around to it. Aquaman, as you may know, is a DC Comics character, one of the Justice League, as you may have seen in the Justice League movie. But this movie, he's all by himself, and it basically shows how he becomes Aquaman. How his mother, a queen of Atlantis, falls in love with a human lighthouse keeper, and they end up having him as a little kid. And he eventually... his mother has to go back to Atlantis. He lives, on the surface world, is raised by his father. Later on, he's trained by a friend of his mother, who's from Atlantis, in how to fight and how to swim and how to do all these sort of Aquaman things that he needs later in the movie.
Yes, he does.
And as he sort of becomes more aware of Atlantis, and Atlantis becomes aware of him, he finds out, well, there's this plot afoot from his half-brother to basically join together all these different Atlantean kingdoms and then go and fight the surface world and take over. Surface. So he wants to. This brother of his wants to take over the underwater world and the surface world as well. He's very ambitious, this brother of his, and he is helped in his sort of fight against his brother's plans by this lady who's the daughter of one of the kings of the underwater kingdom. And they go around the world and they do stuff, and then they end up fighting the Atlantean people and all this sort of stuff. What did you think, Grandma?
Well, it was fascinating. There's so much to see in these movies. Mm-hmm. The movie makers kind of flood you with all of the images, especially of the undersea world. Atlantis and the other things that are down there. Their imaginations are very...
flooded is a good term.
Flooded is a good term. So wherever we go, wherever the people watching the film goes, and they take us through Atlantis and the other under the sea kingdoms, you are just absolutely flooded, inundated with all these images. You can't watch fast enough. Mm-hmm. There's so much to see. Not just the kingdoms, but all of the creatures that live there. Mm-hmm. There is so much to see. I think it's one of those films that you could watch several times and see some things that you didn't see before, because there's so much to see.
So what did you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was challenging.
In what way
was-
challenging?
To take in all of the things that I'm seeing. You know,
Okay.
it was interesting story. I remember Aquaman from the comics, and I don't remember this situation
Well,
that he's in.
this is a different,
This is a-
more modern
right.
Aquaman, you might
Yeah.
say, than the old one.
But the idea of being able to live on the surface and under the water
Mhm.
is just fascinating. You know, wouldn't we all like to do that?
Mhm.
Wouldn't we all like to be able to do that, to jump into any pond or the ocean or anywhere that's water and be able to swim around and enjoy what's down there? It was very interesting. It was beautifully done. So there was, unfortunately, I think, too much fighting. There was so many fights, so many battles, so many confrontations.
Mhm.
You know that I wanted them just to get on with the story here. You know, can we get on with the story? What did you think?
Well, I think you're right about the spectacle. Just
Mm-hmm.
in terms of spectacle, there was spectacle and a lot of spectacle,
Mm-hmm.
but the spectacle was all ridiculous. The whole thing was silly, ridiculous, and I have to say, if I saw one more set of plastic armor that these people were wearing in this movie, I don't know what I was going to do, because their costumes, all this plastic armor that they were wearing, it was ridiculous, and the sets and everything was ridiculous. The characters were ridiculous. Again, a lot of the fighting and stuff was between all of these, like, it was like spaceships, flying around, but they're flying around underwater.
Right.
But it was much more of a spaceship sort of fight
true.
than it was an underwater fight.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
They just happened to be underwater.
yes,
You know.
but so again, it all looked very silly for me, and I just didn't think it was very good. Again, the actors tried hard, but there was really not much of a story. I mean, it was really, again, just the Aquaman versus these other people, and it was just.
I was always glad when the female star came back into the story. You know, she kind of brought us down to earth, but we're not supposed to be.
She was all right, but again, this is another one where I really didn't get into Aquaman that much, or her, or any of the characters. I can't say that I cared about them. You didn't really think that Aquaman was going to get hurt. I mean, early in the film, he gets blasted and stabbed, and all these things happen to him, and he's fine. And
he does get knocked down, and he does look like he's
but
stunned
again,
a little, but he gets
you
up.
don't ever. I don't ever worry about
worry.
whether he's going to be all right. It's just he's.
No, you don't worry.
No, you don't. And again, you don't ever feel that he's really in that much danger, because at the end he's going to be king of Atlantis. Okay, so he gets there eventually, and it's just sort of boring, I thought.
So they didn't really need to make a movie of this story.
No, they didn't.
No.
I mean, again, this is a different sort of more macho Aquaman with long hair and a beard, and
tattoos.
and tattoos, and he
All
talks
over his
and he talks tough.
chest.
He talks tough, but this is not the sort of Aquaman that I was used to in the '60s. I mean, it was a different sort of Aquaman, but. No matter which Aquaman you choose, it's not going to be a particularly interesting movie, and so I would not recommend it at all, spectacle or no spectacle. What would you say, Grandma?
I think I agree with you. you know.
Well, you were just saying a minute ago how much you liked it.
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Did I say that?
Yes, you
Okay.
did.
I enjoyed all of the spectacle. Yes, that's about as you know. I appreciate the work of all of the craftsmen who put together all these images. You know, I know that it's a lot of work and a lot of imagination goes into it. I do appreciate that.
That doesn't make it a good
But
movie.
the story and the characters, you know, I was pulling for Aquaman. all the time, you know, I wanted him to come out.
So
ahead.
how many stars are you giving it then, Grandma?
Are we allowed to not give it any thumbs?
It's up to you, Grandma. You see how many thumbs you want to give it.
How about a half a thumb?
Okay, half a
A
thumb.
thumb.
So even though you like it, you're just going to give it half.
Well, I liked the quality of the filmmaking.